Hi everybody, it's Sunday fun day in my house and I'm having some of my best girlfriends over in a little while and was thinking about what should I make. And you know, I always like a twist on a classic, and so we're going to make seafood nachos today. So we're going to start out with a glass of wine. Cheers. And so these are going to be layered nachos. So we're going to have scallops and shrimp and crab and kind of a creamy sauce. We're going to top it with a pico de gallo, which we're going to make right now. Then we're going to have some really yummy cheeses, some queso blanco, some cheddar jack. And then we're going to finish it off with a really nice, spicy sriracha mayonnaise sour cream, crema. So to start, we're going to start with our pico de gallo. We've got 3 cups of tomatoes chopped. You can pretty much use any tomatoes. I'm lucky at this time of year. I've got a garden. So these are fresh garden tomatoes, so it's going to be really fresh and yummy. I'm adding 1 small chopped onion. This is 1 jalapeno minced and 1 clove of garlic minced. And then I really like, there's a place on Block Island actually that makes the most amazing nachos called Los Gatitos, and they put pineapple in their pico de gallo, and it just adds this real nice pop of sweetness when you're eating them. So I am stealing that from them. Pineapple. Then we're going to do a teaspoon of cumin, which adds that nice smoky salsa flavor. About a teaspoon of salt, more, and a teaspoon of black pepper. And then about a 1/4 cup of olive oil. You just want to pull it all together, maybe 1/3 of a cup. And then we're just going to mix that up. I can find a spoon. Big spoon. And we're going to basically let this sit and let all the flavors marry while we start on the seafood for these nachos. Yummy. Oh, I forgot 1 ingredient. Not looking green enough, is it? So we're going to add some chopped cilantro. I'm going to take a nice big handful. I love to keep herbs on my windowsill in the summertime, so they're readily available, and they do beautifully. So I've got a nice big hunk of cilantro, probably about 1/2 cup. I'm just going to rough chop that. Add that in to the salsa. Mix that in. Let's give it a little hit of acid as well. I'm going to give it some lime juice. About 1/2 lime. And that's just going to come together really beautifully while we cook our seafood. So that's that. We'll let that sit. Rinse my hands. All right, and let's head over to the stove. Get my salt and pepper. I've got some butter melted here in a large pan, 4 tablespoons of butter. Let that get a little bit hot, and we're going to add, this is about 6 large garlic cloves. So we're going to put that in and saute until that is fragrant and translucent. Good. Okay. And then, as I said, for seafood today, you could do any mix of seafood on these nachos. I've got shrimp. I used picked baby shrimp. They're nice for the nachos because they don't overtake. You could use a larger shrimp and chop them up. I have some sea scallops, which I did chop. Lots of times I like to use bay scallops, but they didn't have them fresh, so I got the sea scallops and cut them into quarters. And then we have some fresh premium lump crab meat. So this is going to be super yummy. I can start to smell this garlic cooking already, and that's kind of, you don't want to burn your garlic. It'll give a very acrid flavor to your nachos. So just as you start to smell that, we can start to add in some of our seafood. The other thing with the shrimp If you get frozen shrimp, which if you don't live in Louisiana, you pretty much are not going to get fresh shrimp. Make sure if the package is watery after you defrost it that you pat the shrimp with paper towels so they're nice and dry. Otherwise, they're not going to get a nice sear and they're just going to poach in their own liquid. So you'll see these are going to start to turn a little bit pink. See all that garlic goodness. Garlic and seafood are best friends, just like my friends that are coming over for nachos. All right, as these start to curl and turn pink, we're going to add in our scallops. The crab meat is already cooked when you buy it. I should show you. This is the crab meat I use. It comes in a can, frozen, and you want the premium lump crab meat. It's really, really beautiful lump crab meat. You could use, again, another crab meat, but this is going to hold its shape a little bit better in the nachos and give you amazing flavor. It is pre-cooked, so it's the last thing we're going to put into this pan before we assemble the nachos. So we're going to let that go for a minute. So those just get cooked through. In the meantime, I've taken a 12-ounce bag of tortilla chips, good quality tortilla chips, and I've topped them with a cup and a half of a combination of cheddar jack cheese and pepper jack cheese, and then topped that with queso blanco. So I'm going to put this in the oven while the seafood cooks and let it melt. And that way, when you know how sometimes you get nachos and all the good stuff's on top, and then you get down to the bottom and all you have is chips, we're going to have flavor layered all through these yummy nachos. So these are going in the oven at 400 degrees. I'm actually going to up it now that they're in to 425. And they're going to melt away. Our seafood is bubbling away. And you can see the shrimp are curling and the scallops are starting to get opaque. Now we're going to add 4 ounces of cream cheese. Just stir that in just till it melts. Break it up a little bit. Okay. We're going to add some salt now, about another teaspoon of salt to this, and a teaspoon of black pepper. And then we're going to add some chili powder. Okay. 1 teaspoon chili powder. Ooh, it smells good. Creamy goodness. Alrighty. Okay. Now, you're just about cooked through in the seafood. You don't have to be 100% because you are going to put these back in the oven on top of the nachos. So you want to be almost there, but not quite. Now I'm going to put the crab meat in and mix that in, and then we're just going to turn the heat off until we're ready to put it on top of the nachos. Oh, does that look good? Oh, it smells amazing. All right. Now we're turning our heat off. Okay, so that can sit. I'm going to take a peek at our chips. They're close. They need a couple more minutes to melt. Let's give our salsa another stir just to make sure those flavors are coming together. Oh, it looks good. So while we wait for the cheese to melt on the chips, I also made a, as I said, a sriracha crema that has sour cream and mayonnaise in it. I buy these little plastic bottles. They're like $1 a piece at, a cooking store or a bedding, Bed Bath & Beyond, somewhere like that. And all I did was mix half a cup of mayo, 3/4 of a cup of sour cream, 2 tablespoons of sriracha, and a tablespoon of lemon juice, and then a few tablespoons of milk just to give it a consistency that's loose enough so that you can squirt it. You could also just mix it all up in a bowl and drizzle it on with a spoon if you don't have one of these, but these are a really cool tool. You can also half the recipe that I have on the blog. I like to make this amount, because you can also use it as a dipping sauce for fries. It's delicious on burgers, and I just keep it in the refrigerator. It'll last up to a month in the refrigerator. It's really, really good stuff. So that's going to go on at the very end. We're also going to garnish, I guess while we're waiting for that cheese, we can chop up our scallions. We're going to garnish at the end with fresh scallions and some more cilantro. So those are ready to go. Where's my cilantro? Oh, right in front of me. Get a little more of that. You can see how fast this whole thing is going to come together. Cilantro. All right, I think those chips are probably ready to come out. Aha, they look fantastic. All right, so see how we have that melty, gooey layer? We're now going to put our seafood on top, and then we're going to put another layer of chips. All right, so make sure you're drinking your wine. Whoops! Man down. All right. Let's get our seafood. Okay. We're going to put about half our seafood on top of the chips. I cannot tell you how amazing this smells. By the way, I lined, I don't know if I mentioned that, I lined a cookie sheet with parchment paper. The reason I do that is for presentation. The parchment paper won't burn in the oven, and I'm going to put them into that pretty bowl over there so that they look nice. You could also totally just cover your cookie sheet with tin foil, spray it with nonstick spray, and just eat the nachos right off the tray. But for presentation purposes, I like to do it with a parchment. Okay. They're going to be amazing. All right, we'll sprinkle a few of our scallions in there. Okay. And then I had two 12-ounce bags of tortilla chips to start. Probably not going to use quite both bags, but it's an eyeball kind of thing, whatever you think. Cover that layer. Okay. We'll do about another cup and a half of cheese. Let's go with, we'll put some of that seafood right on top. This is all about layering, so every single chip has an amazing amount of flavor. Okay. Do a little cheese, so probably about another cup and a half of cheese. That's the cheddar jack. Then we'll do a little pepper jack. Okay. We'll do the rest of the seafood. I think this is enough nachos for a crowd. You could half this recipe if you weren't having a big party. You could absolutely half this for a family night. Although my family would probably eat this entire tray. My son might eat this entire tray all by himself. Okay. I cannot wait. All right. This is the rest. So I had to start with an 8-ounce block of the queso blanco. This is the rest of that. I'm going to actually leave a teeny bit for garnish at the end. So I've got, maybe a quarter of the bar. And these guys are going back. That's hot. Don't pick up the pan when it just came out of the oven without pot holders. These are cooking tips that I know you all need out there. All right, back into the oven. And that's going to go at 425 for probably about 8 to 10 minutes, and we're going to pull it out. We're going to garnish it with our Pico de Gallo and our spicy sriracha crema, and then we're going to devour those nachos. So we'll be right back. All right, they're ready. Oh my God, they smell amazing and they look so good. All right, let's garnish these puppies and then we can eat. Okay. Before you garnish, take a sip of wine. All right, so they're out of the oven. They smell amazing. And now remember I told you about the parchment paper, and the reason we did that was so that we could have a pretty presentation. My girls will be very disappointed if I don't have a pretty presentation. So I'm gonna transfer them now, very carefully, whoop, to the bowl. Just like that. Get rid of this pan. Tuck this in a little bit. Okay, and now we're going to garnish. So we're going to do a lot of this beautiful pico. This is going, I cannot even tell you how amazing this is going to taste. It smells so good. Okay. We'll put a little bit of this on the side maybe as we get through the nachos if we want to go down. Then we're going to take some of our green onion, sprinkle that all around, and some cilantro. How pretty is that? And then I cut up one ripe avocado, and just cubed it. So kind of going to put some of that around. That's going to add a nice creamy texture. You could also do this on like a large flat platter if you wanted to spread them out a little bit more. In there. All right. Now I have gooey avocado hands, so let me just rinse my hands. Okay. All right, and now as I mentioned, this is that sriracha crema. That's so good. I wanted to mention also the mayonnaise I use is Hellmann's Light. I'm totally a Hellmann's girl, and this stuff is awesome. I put it in everything. And then for sriracha, you can get this in the Asian section, and it's just really, really good spicy sauce. And I put 2 tablespoons in my mixture. It's pretty spicy. If you don't like super spicy, you can use a little bit less and just taste it as you go. Put a tablespoon in, taste it. And if you want to add more, add more. So, and again, I talked about this great squeeze bottom. And wait, look how professional and pretty this looks. So we're going, ooh. All right. And then a little squeeze of lime. Maybe one for garnish. I got a knife. Boop, boop. One more cilantro. And there you have it. So good. All right, I'm going to try one before they get here. A little bit of the pico, just to make sure they're okay. Oh my God. So good. The seafood is fresh and delicious, cheesy. The pico de gallo, a nice punch of flavor with a little bit of heat. And that sriracha crema is amazing. Cheers, girls should be here any minute. See ya. Have a great Sunday.